Formula E is back. Season 7 kicks off here in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia. And for those of you that are new to Formula E, we see you in the comments, let me give you a brief introduction of what to expect. I'm Saunders CB, and this is the Season 7 preview.
Green, 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 go, 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 go!
And they make contact! Wheel to wheel, nose to tail.
Nice forward, come on.
He's absolutely on a mission today.
Antonio Felix da Costa, the champion of Formula E.
Formula E has some of the biggest names in the automotive and motorsport world battling it out. It's close, competitive, unpredictable racing with many different winners and a championship title that's likely to go right until the very end of the season. Essentially, it's the ultimate checklist of a motorsport fan. All made better by the fact that this is racing with a purpose of raising awareness and developing technology to help us battle the very threats that threaten our existence on this planet. This is change accelerated. Now we'll get onto the specifics of this circuit, the challenges it brings, the lighting, that sort of thing in just a moment. But for now, let's talk about what's different.
This season also marks Formula E's first with a World Championship status, which brings with it an even greater level of significance worldwide. Truly the pinnacle of electric racing. The pressure has been loaded, the stakes are even higher for the teams and drivers, and the championship title has that little extra bit of sparkle, with 12 teams and 24 drivers all wanting to get their hands on it.
So joining the grid this season are a handful of faces, some returning to Formula E, some getting their first taste of electric street racing this week.
Rookies include Nick Cassidy, the single-seater specialist and Japanese racing Triple Crown winner, who's racing for Envision Virgin Racing. Jake Dennis, BMW I Andretti Motorsport's new signing, who has DTM and GT racing credentials, and endurance and Le Mans podium sitter Norman Nato, moving up the ranks from test and development driver into a race seat at Rocket Venturi Racing.
The story begins this Friday and Saturday night under the lights in not just the first World Championship races, but the first ever Formula E night races. More firsts, more unknowns, more excitement. This is going to be mega.
Testing was almost too close to make any assessment, other than it's looking likely to be a ridiculously tight season. Could we see the return of an almost season-long streak of different race winners? Last time we were racing, it was very much the Da Costa show, an immense set of races in Berlin to crown him Formula E champion and his team, DS Techeetah, teams champions. But behind Da Costa in the standings, it came down to the very last race to cement the success of the rest of the grid. At the close of the season, only 4 points separated second and fifth position, showing that that level of competition was still super high right up until the final checkered flag. Mercedes-Benz EQ finished their debut season in the strongest way possible, a 1-2 in the final race, and Stoffel Van Dorn's first win, closing out the season second in the standings. Tag Heuer Porsche scored multiple podiums in their debut season too, BMW a handful of race wins, Jaguar with a win and looking very pacey. Heading into season 7, the competition is coming from all angles. But with the world as it is and has been over the last 7 months since we last raced, previous season results and testing aren't going to count for much in season 7.
Now you almost definitely don't need me to tell you this, but we've been experiencing some slightly longer gaps between races, and that sort of downtime drivers aren't exactly used to. So, mental and physical preparation, the best preparation possible, has never been more essential to the start of a season. And that makes me think which drivers have thrown themselves back into the routine, they're prepared for a race day and the adrenaline that comes with racing, and which drivers might still be struggling to get out of the habits of that slightly slower pace of life that we've all been experiencing recently. It's no easy feat for drivers, teams, anyone for that matter, to prepare themselves in times like these for a championship as unrelenting as Formula E.
So which drivers are looking like contenders for the opening rounds? Pretty much most of the grid, but looking back at previous performances on this circuit, BMW have won here in Diriyah on every visit. Da Costa in 2019 and Sims in round 2 last season with back-to-back pole positions. Both drivers, however, have since moved to other teams. Da Costa to championship winning DS Techeetah and Alexander Sims to Mahindra Racing. So, Is it the BMW car that favours this circuit, or is it the drivers now racing in other machinery? Time will tell. Sam Bird won the opening race of Season 6 here, cementing the stat of being the only driver to win a race in every season of Formula E. Bird has since moved to Jaguar Racing, a team who cranked things up a gear last season, so he's looking in good stead to keep that trend going. But he faces strong competition from the other side of the garage in Mitch Evans, hopefully avoiding what happened between the two of them this time last year.
What the is Sam doing?
Mercedes-Benz EQ visited the podium twice here in 2020, Porsche secured a podium on their debut race.
Like I said, there's many different directions that these first few races can go in, but one thing that is guaranteed is that it's going to be an entertaining watch.
Like last season's opener, rounds 1 and 2 will take place on the Diriyah street circuit, located in the 15th century UNESCO World Heritage Site. A fast and challenging circuit configuration, with high-speed sections, sloping fast corners, not too dissimilar to the Macau street circuit, and some tricky characteristics.
One of those being sand. We are of course surrounded by parts of the desert, and as the wind blows like it is now, it moves that sand onto the surface of the track. Now that is an element that very much comes into play with racing on this circuit, because as the wind blows and the cars move around the track, that sand moves across the surface, changing the grip levels, meaning that the drivers then have to contend with a moving clean racing line and adapt their driving to keep maximum grip and maximum speed throughout the race. And it's this factor that in the past has resulted in things like some unexpected slides, contact with the wall, collisions, making racing here just that little bit more exciting. It also means though that track evolution has more of an impact in qualifying, making it harder for the drivers in the earlier groups. And in round 1, that means the drivers that finished at the top of the standings last season. There's been a lot that's been leading, building to this moment, but this Friday and Saturday, Formula E racing returns. Question is, who is going to be the driver that takes the first win of the season? You can let us know your thoughts in the comments. Head over to fiaformulae.com/watch to find out where you can watch the race live, and check out our other videos for more on the teams, drivers, and everything about Formula E.